Welcome to the Bombardier Q400 FMS Approach Masterclass. Today, we're diving into the step-by-step explainer on FMS operations, hitting the exact chronological sequence you need to get the Q400 safely on the ground. No fluff, let's jump right into it.
Here is our flight plan for this explainer. 1. Arming the approach. 2. QNH altitudes. 3. Inserting the arrival. 4. Activation modes. 5. Continuity and editing. And 6. Advisory approaches.
Section 1. Arming the FMS approach. Okay, let's start with a really fantastic memory trick for arming your approach. We call it the 50-30 rule. So, when you're within 50 nautical miles direct distance from the runway, the Arm Approach option pops up and becomes available manually on your nav page 1. You just hit LSK3R to arm it, but hey, things get busy up there, right? If the approach hasn't been manually selected by the time you hit 30 nautical miles from your destination, the FMS actually has your back. It'll automatically arm the approach for you. So 50 for manual, 30 for automatic. Memorize that one. So what's actually happening behind the scenes once it's armed? Well, first, the FMS determines the highest available level of service, the LOS, and triggers the LPV annunciator if it applies. Then, if you've got the remote tune option configured, your VHF receiver automatically tunes right to the VOR or LIS frequency. You're also going to see your cross-track display a T. That just means your HSI sensitivity is scaled down to 1 mile full-scale deflection. And this is crucial. To guarantee approach accuracy, the system drops any LORAN-C or non-TSO C146B GPS sensors, since they just can't meet those tight approach criteria. Section 2, QNH versus QFE altitudes. Now, let's use another incredibly helpful trick here, the QNH versus QFE rule of thumb. Listen, all FMS arrival procedure altitudes are based on QNH, absolutely never QFE. Just think of QNH as normal. It stands for your altitude above sea level, your MSL altitude, and it's literally required for all FMS procedures. On the flip side, think of QFE as error. That's the height above airport elevation, and the manual is completely explicit here. Do not use QFE. Just remember, QNH is normal, QFE is an error. Simple as that. Section 3. Inserting the arrival procedure. Time to build the approach. You'll press menu from the flight plan pages and select Arrive at LSK4R. You'll notice the destination airport automatically pre-fills right there in the Arrive field. In our example here, it's KABQ. From there, your cursor is perfectly positioned, ready for you to start building out your specific standard terminal arrival route, or STAR. Over on the left side of your arrival page, that's where you select your approach from the list. You'll pick your transition, followed by your specific approach type for your runway, like an ILS, RNV, or VOR for runway 35L. You just pick your landing runway and approach type on the left, hit enter, and the FMS instantly fills it all in. Once you select that approach transition, the resulting flight plan page is your chance to visually verify everything. You want to make absolutely sure the approach, the transition, and all those associated waypoints are securely locked right into the flight plan sequence. Seriously, always double-check this page to ensure what you just programmed perfectly matches your ATC clearance. Section 4. Activating the approach. Here's another great trick to memorize your automatic activation tolerances. We call it the 80-15 activation angle. So an approach will automatically activate when an approach waypoint is sequenced, but your track angle actually has to fall within certain limits. If you're using a roll-steered autopilot, your tolerance is a pretty generous 80 degrees. But if you have a dev-steered autopilot or you're hand-flying with no autopilot, that tolerance shrinks down to a much tighter 15 degrees. If you don't happen to meet those criteria, no worries. You can always manually activate it. From any nav page, just hit ACT Approach at LSK3R. Now consider this the Q400 Captain's Warning. When the FMS transitions to heading mode during manual activation, you have to manually set the approach intercept angle, which is usually based on your ATC radar vectors. Once you have that intercept angle established, you absolutely must press the Intercept LSK on nav page 1. The manual gives a very stark warning here. Failure to activate intercept mode will cause the aircraft to maintain current heading and fly right through the final approach course. You definitely do not want to miss that step. Section 5. Flight plan continuity and altitude editing. So, inserting a side or star can sometimes create duplicate waypoints. Say you have a sequence like LA Jug, BNA, BNA, ATL. We've got Nashville, BNA, listed twice in there. You've got to edit out those redundant waypoints before you actually reach them. By just deleting that extra BNA, you effectively close up the flight plan, which guarantees a continuous, completely unbroken path for the FMS to follow. That being said, there are some pretty strict rules for editing. First off, linking a star in an approach often generates a no-link message. Sometimes you actually want to leave that no-link right there in the flight plan, especially if it ensures a radar vector waypoint gets overflown and the last heading is maintained. Second, you should always compare the star chart headings to the FMS. If your FMS heading differs from the chart just prior to a vector leg, you need to be ready to discontinue FMS guidance. And third, if a waypoint is part of the approach common segment, you are not allowed to edit an altitude to be lower than what is hard-coded in the navigation database.
Section 6. Advisory, ILS, LOC, and BC approaches.
Let's talk edge cases. When these approaches are advisory only, you're dealing with some strict limitations. The system is only going to use terminal mode course deviation scaling instead of that tighter approach scaling we want. Remember that 50 nautical mile ARM APPR option we covered earlier? Yeah, it won't even show up. The FMS will give you roll steering to the waypoints, but localizer and glide slope signals won't be available to display on the HSI, and they definitely won't couple to the autopilot. You are totally reliant on raw signals here, and if you have to go around, you have to manually activate the missed approach straight from the nav page. Which brings us to our final and frankly most vital question. Are you prepared to resolve all FMS discontinuities and ensure the computer actually matches your intended flight path? Because here's the ultimate takeaway from this explainer. The Q400 FMS is incredibly powerful. It automates arming at 30 miles, it tunes your VHF, it guides your lateral track. But guys, it's not a set-it-and-forget-it tool. From editing out those duplicate waypoints to remembering to hit that intercept key so you don't go flying right through your final approach course, the ultimate responsibility for a safe approach rests entirely in your hands.